राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and with pranams, thank you very much for joining in for our Srimad Bhagavatam study session. Let's start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टके. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. नमो पङ्कजनाभाय नमो पङ्कजमालिने नेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये. पाहि पाहि महायोगीन् देवदेव जगत्पते. नान्यं त्वादभयं पश्ये यत्र मृत्युः परस्परं. कृष्ण कृष्ण महाबाहो भक्तानाम् अभयङ्करा. त्वमेको धैर्यमानानाम् अपवर्गोऽसि संश्रुतेः. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नामिने. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे. नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः. पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि प्रिये. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna, dear devotees and pranams. Thank you again for joining in. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamam vande Shri Gurun Dinadarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Harihi Om Tat Sat. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tarale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo. Hare Krishna. So thank you devotees for joining in. Let's continue Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.40. right? So the last time we ended, we were discussing about the 6 kinds of aggressors, right? Prabhupada mentions in detail in Prabhupada's purport also in Bhagavad Gita. And also in this particular verse, Prabhupada is mentioning how it is correct on the part of Arjuna to kill Ashwathama, because Ashwathama is an aggressor, right? And Prabhupada mentions also that one who sets fire to another's house, one who kidnaps one's wife, one who administers poison, one who tries to kill one's family members, etc. Right? They are all liable to be punished, right? And there is no sinful reaction that is acquired as long as there is justice in the mind when we punish, right? So these aggressors are to be killed, and it is okay for them to be killed. So now we see here that Arjuna and Lord Shri Krishna tell Draupadi that we will go and get Ashwathama who has killed your 5 sons, and we'll bring him to you, and you can now pronounce whatever judgment you want for them, for Ashwathama. So in that way, we see that Ashwathama releases a Brahmastra, he does not know how to retract it, and Arjuna also releases a Brahmastra, and then Arjuna retracts both the Brahmastras, and in this way, Ashwathama is captured. And now let us go ahead, 1.7.40. As we continue to see what kind of punishment is being meted out to Ashwathama, especially because of Draupadi's compassion. And Prabhupada also talks about the pros and cons of how a woman is emotionally attached when she's making decisions. A woman is more compassionate also, and Draupadi, being a devotee, also is being compassionate. That she does not want Ashwathama to be killed because she's thinking that he is Dronacharya's son. So to kill Ashwathama would mean to cause disrespect to Dronacharya, who's our guru, like that. All right, so let's move ahead. 1.7.40. Sutavacha evam parikshata dharmam partah krishneena choditah naichaddantum guru sutam yadyapyatmahanam mahan. Okay, Deval Mataji, go ahead and read, Mataji. Haribol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanar Pranam. Synonyms: Suta, Suta Goswami, Uvacha said, Evam, this Parikshataha, being examined, Dharmam, in the matter of duty, Parthaha, Sri Arjuna, Krishnena, by Lord Krishna, Choditaha, being encouraged, Na Aichat, did not like Hantum to kill Guru Sutam, the son of his teacher, Yadyapi, although Atmahanam, murderer of sons, Mahan, very great. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suta Goswami said, although Krishna, who was examining Arjuna in religion, encouraged Arjuna to kill the son of Dronacharya, Arjuna, a great soul, did not like the idea of killing him, although Ashwathama was a heinous murderer of Arjuna's family members. Purport: Arjuna was a great soul undoubtedly, which is proved here also. He is encouraged herein personally by the Lord to kill the son of Drona, but Arjuna considers that the son of his great teacher should be spared, for he happens to be the son of Dronacharya, even though he is an unworthy son, having done all sorts of heinous acts whimsically for no one's benefit. Lord Sri Krishna encouraged Arjuna outwardly just to test Arjuna's sense of duty. It is not that Arjuna was incomplete in the sense of his duty, nor was Lord Sri Krishna unaware of Arjuna's sense of duty. But Lord Sri Krishna puts to the test many of his pure devotees just to magnify the sense of duty. The gopis were put to such test as well. Just a moment. Yeah. Prahlad Maharaj also was put to such a test. All pure devotees come out successful in the respective tests by the Lord. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you, Dharan Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Dharan Pranam. So, we are also subject to tests, right? Prabhupada explains in one particular lecture. A first standard student gets a first standard question paper, right? And a 10th standard gets a 10th standard question paper. So, we all are subject to various trials, tests, and tribulations. If we come out successful, then we get, just as a first standard student get promoted to a second standard and also undergoes those tests of second standard, then third, fourth, fifth, like that. So we are also, when we pass a particular test, then we become closer to Krishna. And then we are succumb to our next test. And we will have all these tests until we attain Krishna Prema, until we reawaken our Krishna consciousness, until we actually go back home, back to Godhead. Yeah. So in this way, we see here that each of us are put to test, right? And when does the test end? Is there an end to the test? No. Because Maya Devi, who is the external energy of the Lord, has been given this task, right? And Maya Devi is very meticulous in her service to Krishna to test the people of this world, right? So whenever we pass a test, means what? Are we surrendering to Krishna? Are we following dharma? Are we acting according to the guidance of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu? When we are um, met with some situation or some misery or some unfair situation, right? How do we react, right? Prabhupada told that the greatest test is the ability to handle situations that make us very angry, right? So in that way, when we are put to a test, that means there are all chances that we may transgress the Vaishnava etiquette, right? But in those cases, right, how does a devotee react or respond to suffering, right? Prahlad Maharaj was put to test, but not once did he act disrespectfully to Hiranyakashipu, his own father, right? In fact, after Nrsimhadev actually delivered or killed Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj was asked, what do you want? Prahlad Maharaj said, I don't want anything other than devotional service. And when insisted by Nrsimhadev, Bhagavan, what did Prahlad Maharaj ask? He asked that his father be delivered. And Narsingadev told, not only is your father delivered, but all the 21 generations up and down will actually be delivered. So in this way, we see a devotee even in provocating situations, in those situations where one gets angry. Also in those situations, a devotee remains calm because he's guided by the Lord how to actually react or respond to circumstances like that. Okay. Text number 41. Atopetya swashibhiram Govinda priyasaratihi Nyavedayattam priyayai Sochantya atmajanhatan. Yes, Subarao Prabhu, please go ahead. Synonyms.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Atha.
Yes, Prabhu.
Translation and synonyms and translation by Divine Grace C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. Atha. Thereafter, Upetya, having reached Swa own Sibiram camp, Govinda, one who enlimens the senses, Lord Sri Krishna, Priya, dear, Sharathi, the chariotee, Nyavedayat, entrusted to, term, him, Priyayai, unto the dear, Tochantyai, lamenting, for and Atmajan, own sons, Hatan, murdered. Translation. After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer, Sri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Purport. The transcendental relation of Arjuna with Krishna is of the dearmost friendship. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself has claimed Arjuna as his dearmost friend. Every living being is thus related with the Supreme Lord by some sort of affectionate relation, either as servant or as a friend or as a parent or an object of conjugal love. Everyone thus can enjoy the company of the Lord in the spiritual realm, if he at all desires and sincerely tries for it by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Haribol. So, what is the way of reawakening our love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. So, Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that I am to be known only by the process of devotional service. There is no other way by which I can be known. It's only by the process of devotional service that I can be understood as I am. So, that's what is mentioned here also. So, how do we render devotional service? We render devotional service currently when we are in this position of being sadhaka bhaktas. We render devotional service in the mode of the servant. We want to serve, satisfy and please the Lord. So we do this kind of seva until we develop our raga anuga. That means we develop our love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then what we want to do, then we will be able to identify our constitutional position. What is our rasa with Krishna, right? Whether it is Dasya rasa or Sakya rasa or Vatsalya rasa or Madhurya rasa, whatever be our rasa, then we will be able to render service to the Lord in that capacity, in that particular Swarupa Siddha, in that particular constitutional position, right? But until such time, right, we also studied, when we studied the Krishna book, when we studied the Bhagavad Gita introduction also, where Prabhupada is clearly mentioning that there is one common factor that is running across all the rasas, be it Dasya rasa, Sakya rasa, Vatsalya rasa, Madhurya rasa. What is that? That is the service attitude. That is the deep desire to serve, satisfy, and please Guru and Krishna. Right? So one can enjoy the company of the Lord, right? One can serve the Lord according to one's rasa, but that is a higher stage, right? Until we reach that stage, what are we supposed to do? We have to develop the laulyam, the desire to want to serve Guru and Gauranga. So when we develop that laulyam, then there will come a time when we will understand what is our rasa and we can serve the Lord in that particular rasa. And of course, Krishna satisfies the desires of all the devotees according to their propensity to serve Krishna. Right? And that is why even the rasa dance, right? Although millions and millions of gopis, all of them were thinking Krishna is only dancing with me. Right? That kind of reciprocity can be exercised only by Krishna because he is Bhagavan. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, text number 42. Tatahritam pashuvat pashabaddam avan mukham karma jugupshitena nidiksha krishna pakritam guru sutam vamaswabhava kripaya nanamavcha. Sarvagopi Shri Mataji, go ahead.
Synonyms. Katha, thus, Ashritam, brought in, Pashuvat, like an animal, Pashabaddam, tied with ropes, Avak Mukam, without a word in his mouth, Karma, activities, Jugupsitene, being heinous, Nirikshaya, by seeing Krishna, Draupadi, Apakritam, the doer of the degrading, Guroho, the teacher, Sutam, son, Vama, beautiful, Swabhava, nature, Kripaya, out of compassion, Nanama, offered obeisances, Cha, and translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada here. Srila Suta Goswami said, Draupadi then saw Ashwatthama, who was bound with the ropes like an animal and silent for having enacted the most inglorious murder. Due to her female nature and due to her being a naturally good and well-behaved, she showed him due respect as a Brahmana. Purport. Ashwatthama was condemned by the Lord himself and he was treated by Arjuna just like a culprit, not like the son of a Brahmana or teacher. But when he was brought before Srimati Draupadi, she, although grieved for the murder of her sons, and although the murderer was present before her, could not withdraw the due respect generally offered to the Brahmana or to the son of a Brahmana. This is due to her mild nature as a woman. Women as a class are no better than the boys, and therefore they have no discriminatory power like that of a man. Ashwatthama proved himself to be an unworthy son of Dronacharya or of a Brahmana. And for this reason, he was condemned by the greatest authority, Lord Sri Krishna, and yet a mild woman could not withdraw her natural courtesy for a Brahmana. Even to date, in a Hindu family, a woman shows proper respect to a Brahmana caste. However fallen and heinous a Brahmana Bandhu may be, but the men may have begun to protest against Brahma Bandhus who are born in the families of a good Brahmana, but by action are less than the Sudras. The specific word used in this sloka is Vama Swabhava, mild and gentle by nature. A good man or woman accept anything very easily, but a man of average intelligence does not do so. But anyway, we should not give up our reason and discriminatory power just to be gentle. One must have a good discriminatory power to judge a thing on its merit. We should not follow the mild nature of a woman and thereby accept that which is not genuine. Ashwatthama may be respected by a good-natured woman, but that does not mean that he is as good as a genuine Brahmana. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, so what is it that is mentioned here? One should have the discriminatory power, right? Prabhupada is saying. So whether a man or a woman, Kalau Shudra Sambhava, in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra, right? And Prabhupada equates women, Shudras, for them Mahabharata is written, right? So in that case, Prabhupada clearly says that women are a less intelligent class, right? But in and women and Shudras is equating equally. Right? And in Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra. So whether man or a woman, everybody is a Shudra. So everybody is lacking discriminatory power. Manda Sumanda Matayo, Manda Bhagyo Padrataha. Everybody is Manda Sumanda. Everybody is misguided. Everybody is lazy. Everybody is quarrelsome. Everybody is got this lack of discrimination power. Right? So how does one increase one's discrimination power, whether a man or a woman in this Kali Yuga? It is only by the study of the scriptures. That is why it is very important to study Srila Prabhupada's books, to study Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very important to study the purports of Prabhupada, because that will give us a discrimination power. Because Prabhupada gives us situations, Prabhupada gives us questions, Prabhupada himself asks the questions, Prabhupada himself answers the solutions, which are practical questions that we can adopt in our day-to-day situations, so that we can take the right decisions, so that our intelligence is suitably developing the discriminatory power. What is right, what is wrong, how I should not give up my dharma simply going by the circumstances. I should choose dharma over convenience. Right? Prabhupada gives example even in Bhagavad Gita, that a woman goes to the kitchen and cooks even in the month of May. Right? Everybody, we all take bath early morning, even during winter. So in this way, things may not be convenient for us, but a person who has a discriminatory power will know what is right and will do what is right, not depending on whether it is convenient for one or not. But one will execute what is one's dharma. One will execute, discriminate what is right for me to do in this particular situation, and do that what is pleasing to Guru and Gauranga, and not according to one's own mind, not according to one's own whims and fancies. And how do we get the discriminatory power? The discriminatory power is obtained by the study of the scriptures under a bona fide spiritual master, or hearing the scriptures from a person who's coming in a bona fide Guru Parampara. Okay, let's go to text number 43. Okay, text number 43. Uvacha chashahantyasya bandhananayanam sati mucyatam esha brahmano nitaram guruhu. Nagamani Mataji, go ahead. Synonyms.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam. Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Bol. Uvacha said Cha and Ashanti being unbearable for her.
Asahanti.
Pardon?
Asahanti being unbearable.
Asahanti being unbearable for her. Asya, his, bandhana, being bound. Anayanam, bringing him. Sati, the devoted. Muchyatam, just get him released. Esha, this, Brahmana, ye Brahmana, Nitaram, our Guru, teacher. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. She should not tolerate Asatamas being bound by ropes and being a devoted lady. She said, release him for he is a Brahmana, our spiritual master. Purport through Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As soon as Ashwatthama brought before Draupadi, she thought it intolerable that a Brahmana should be arrested like a culprit and brought before her in that condition, especially when the Brahmana happened to be a teacher's son. Arjuna arrested Ashwathama, knowing perfectly well that he was the son of Dronacharya. Krishna also knew him to be so, but both of them condemned the murderer without consideration of his being the son of a Brahmana. According to revealed scriptures, a teacher or spiritual master is liable to be rejected if he proves himself unworthy of the position of a guru or a spiritual master. A guru is called also an acharya or a person who has personally assimilated all the essence of shastras and has helped his disciples to adopt the ways. Ashwathama failed to discharge the duties of a brahmana or a teacher, and therefore he was liable to be rejected from the exalted position of a brahmana. On this consideration, both Lord and Sri Krishna and Arjuna were right in condemning Brahmana Ashwathama. But to a good lady like Draupadi, the matter was considered not from the angle of Shastric vision, but as a matter of custom. By custom, Ashwathama was offered the same respect as offered to his father. It was so because generally the people accept the son of a Brahmana as a real Brahmana by sentiment only. Factually, the matter is different. A Brahmana is accepted on the merit of qualification and not on the merit of simply being the son of Brahmana. But in spite of all this, Draupadi desired that Ashwatthama be at once released, and it was all the same a good sentiment for her. This means that a devotee of the Lord can tolerate all sorts of tribulation personally, but still such devotees are never unkind to others, even to the enemy. These are the characteristics of one who is a pure devotee of the Lord. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Dandavad
Krishna.
Pranam.
Thank you, Danat Pranam. So this is very, very, very important as practicing devotees, right? Even if, because why does a devotee tolerate and does not react or respond to the person who is causing this, this kind of so-called misery for us, right? Why? Because a devotee knows nothing happens without the sanction of the Lord, and the person who's causing this misery to me is just a nimitta, is just an instrument. I am supposed to get this misery. If not from X, it will come from Y, right? So it is not about trying to find out who's causing me that misery. Doesn't matter. If A is not causing it, B will cause it, because that misery is anyway due to come to me because of my karma, right? So what is a devotee's understanding? The devotee's understanding is that I am anyway liable to suffer this, but Krishna is so merciful that Krishna is giving me just a token for my own purification. So that is the attitude, and that is the mood of a devotee, and that is why a devotee is able to tolerate, because he knows that I am supposed to get much more. But Krishna is so merciful. So not only does a devotee tolerate, the devotee is also able to become grateful to the Lord. Right? Grateful to the Lord that you are giving me just 0.0001%. Well, I should be suffering 99% more. You are giving me only 1% for my own purification. And that is why Draupadi also, being a pure devotee of the Lord, was able to forgive Ashwathama also, although she is suffering. Right? Why she is doing it? Prabhupada later on mentions in the purport also. She did not want Kripi, the mother of Ashwathama, the wife of Dronacharya. He married the sister of Kripacharya, who is Kripi. So she did not want Kripi, the mother of Ashwathama, to undergo the same the trouble and the same misery that she herself is undergoing because her sons are killed. right? So she did not want another person to undergo the same misery. So that is the quality of a devotee. Titikshva karunika surada sarvadehinam, right? That one who is compassionate, and who is suhradam sarvadehinam, who is a friend of all the living entities, right? She understands that something must have caused Ashwatthama to behave like this, but I cannot, by my taking revenge, I don't want Kripi to undergo the pain that I myself am undergoing. So this is the quality of a devotee, and it stems from the fact that a devotee knows that whatever suffering I'm due to get, I will get. Whoever is an instrument in giving me that suffering does not really matter. So for me to have a revengeful attitude against those who are doing wrong to me is foolishness on my part, because I have to get it anyways. Whether I get it from A, B, C, D, E doesn't matter, right? But to understand that Krishna has reduced it to 1%, and Krishna is utilizing all these people as instruments so that I can be purified, so that I can become better in devotional service. With that attitude, if a person is looking, right? Jive taye mukti pade sadayabhag tatte nukampam susamikshamaano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvad vidada namaste jive taye mukti pade sadayabhag. When one accepts with a grateful heart even miseries that have come in one's life, knowing well that Krishna has reduced it to a small proportion just for my purification, I'm undergoing this, right? Such a person, jiveta ye mukti pade sadayabhak, even being situated in this world, even undergoing that suffering, right? Such a person will be entitled for liberation, right? So that is the meaning of this verse. How a devotee is able to tolerate, because a devotee understands the facts as it is, right? Okay, let's move ahead. Text number 44. सरहस्यो धनुर्वेद सविसर्गोपसंयमः अस्त्रग्रामश्च भवता शिक्षितो यत् अनुग्रहात्. Okay, Sarvagopal Shri Mataji, you want to read synonyms?
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Synonyms.
Mataji.
Sir Rahasyaha, confidential. Danuhu Vedaha. Knowledge in the art of manipulating bows and arrows. Sir Visarga, releasing. Upa Samyamaha, controlling. Astra, weapons. Gramaha, all kinds of. Cha and Bhavata, by yourself. Sikshitaha, learner. Yet, by whose? Anugrahat, mercy of. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: it was by Dronacharya's mercy that you learned the military art of throwing arrows and the confidential art of controlling their weapons. Purport: Dhanurveda or military science was taught by Dronacharya with all its confidential secrets of throwing and controlling by Vedic hymns. Gross military science is dependent on material weapons. But finer than that is the art of throwing the arrows saturated with Vedic hymns, which act more effectively than gross material weapons like machine guns or atomic bombs. The control is by Vedic mantras or the transcendental science of sound. It is sound. It is said in the Ramayana that Maharaja Dasharatha, the father of the Lord Sri Rama, used to control arrows by sound only. He could pierce his target with his arrow by only hearing the sound without seeing the object. So this is a finer military science than that of the gross material military weapons used nowadays. Arjuna was taught all this, and therefore Draupadi wished that Arjuna feel obliged to Acharya Drona for all this benefit. And in that absence of Dronacharya, his son was his representative. That was the opinion of the good lady Draupadi. It may be argued by why Dronacharya, a rigid Brahmana, should be a teacher in a military science. But the reply is that Brahmana should become a teacher regardless of what his department of knowledge. A learned Brahmana should become a teacher, a priest, and a recipient of charity. A bona fide Brahmana is authorized to accept such profession. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Patan Patan Yajan Yajan Dana Pratigraha. So these are the activities of a Brahmana. So what is you have to do? Patan Patan. You should study the Vedic scriptures. Patan, teach Vedic scriptures. Yajan Yajan, also perform the yajna. Which is the yajna for this age of Kali? Yagyar Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Right? Performing yajnas and also yajan, right? And also teach others to perform yajnas, right? To create more brahmanas who can perform this Sankirtana yajna. Yajan, and then dana and pratigraha. Dana means to give in charity, and pratigraha means to accept in charity. So these are the qualities of a brahmana, and a brahmana can accept, patan, he can teach any skill, any art. So Dronacharya is also a brahmana. What is the art that he was teaching? He was teaching the art of fighting, right? The art of using the weapons, shastra, right? How to use the shastra, military science. That was what he was teaching, right? However, Ashwatthama is not a brahmana. Why? Because Ashwatthama does not have the qualities of a brahmana, right? And he was just going around killing without any reason, not to administer justice, but with a tendency to take revenge, right? And he was administering, he was not killing according to the rules of the military science, right? He was just killing. He was trying to kill somebody in the womb of Mother Uttara. He killed the 5 sons of Draupadi while they were sleeping. So these are not even when Duryodhana heard that Karna, what is his name? Ashwatthama has actually killed the sleeping sons of Draupadi. Right? Even Duryodhana was not pleased. Even though his own master was not pleased. It was such a heinous act. So how can we call him a Brahmana? He's a Brahma Bandhu. He's a relative of the Brahmana. Chaturvaranya Maya system, Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. It is not determined by birth, but has to be determined by Guna and Karma. It has to be determined by one's actions and one's qualities, whether one is a Brahmana or not. So Ashwatthama is fit to be killed, but here the qualities of Draupadi, being compassionate, is being highlighted by Prabhupada because she is a devotee of the Lord. Just like Arjuna's attitude of compassion also was praised by Prabhupada elaborately in the purport, right? But this compassion should not go against one's practice of dharma, right? That's how even Arjuna, Prabhupada said, sometimes he said it is it's miserly. The acts of Arjuna is miserly. Sometimes he said it's an act of compassion by a devotee, right? What is the distinguishing factor? One can have mercy, one can have compassion, but one should not transgress one's dharma based on this bodily compassion, right? Even Bharat Maharaj, it is good to be compassionate to a deer, but that should not take precedence over the performance of Swadharma. That means performing of the yajnas, that he was saying, as he was pouring the ghee, he was looking at the deer, right? So we can have compassion. These are all qualities of a Vaishnava, but the primary quality is devotion unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Even our compassion, we have to ensure that we are only instruments in the hands of the Lord, even as we are providing compassion. We should think that I am the provider, right? Bhoktaram Mikritam Sarvalokam Suradam Sarvabhutanam. Krishna is a provider, Krishna is a proprietor, Krishna is an enjoyer. We are but becoming instruments by the grace of the Guru and Gauranga to actually deliver this message, to care for people, to help people, etc. Right? So when we keep Krishna in the center, we will not get bewildered. Otherwise, even qualities like compassion can bewilder people. Even as great devotees like Bharat were in the bhava stage. Very, very careful. Practicing devotional service, Prabhupada says, is like walking on the edge of a sword. We have to be very, very careful. Even a little bit means cut our leg. That means what? We fall down from devotional service. Text number 45. Saisha Bhagavan Dronaha Prajarupena Vartate Tasyatmano Ardham Patnyaste Nanvagat Virashu Kripi. Yeah, Bhagavan Drona. Very interesting. Okay, let's see. Okay, whoever is not read. Okay, Srimati Shamapriya Mataji, go ahead. And then Karpagavali Mataji can read. Yeah. Yes.
Mataji pranams.
Dandavat pranam. Yes.
You can scroll the screen, please.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Synonyms. Yeah. Text number 45. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Translation provided by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada teaches, Sir, he, Esha, certainly, Bhagavan, Lord, Dronacharya, Prajarupena, in the form of his son Ashwatthama, Vartate, is existing, Tasya, his Atmanaha of the body, Ardham, half, Patni, wife, Aste, living, not, Anvagat, undertook, Vira Shuhu, having the son present, Kripi, the sister of Kripacharya. Translation. He, Dronacharya, is certainly still existing, being represented by his son. His wife Kripi did not undergo a sati with him because she had a son. Purport. The wife of Dronacharya Kripi is the sister of Kripacharya, a devoted wife who is, according to revealed scripture, the better half of her husband, is justified in embracing voluntary death along with her husband if she is without issue. But in the case of the wife of Dronacharya, she did not undergo such a trial because she had her son, the representative of her husband. A widow is a widow only in the name if there is a son of her husband existing. So in either case, Ashwatthama was the representative of Dronacharya, and therefore killing Ashwatthama would be like killing Dronacharya. That was the argument of Draupadi against the killing of Ashwatthama. Hare Krishna, Pranam. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So this is the argument of Draupadi, right? But Krishna and Arjuna, both of them do not agree with this. Krishna says Ashwatthama has to be punished. Why? Because he is not a Brahmana, but he is only a Brahma Bandhu, right? So in that way, although, and finally what will happen, they will just remove the ornament of Ashwatthama, because killing taking off that ornament, that means that almost equivalent to amounting to death, right? Because what they say, that for a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. So like that, taking this ornament away, right? Or they will remove, cut his hair or make it some disshaven in a particular way. That is more of a humiliation for Ashwatthama than even death. So in that way, that will be the decision that will be taken by Lord Sri Krishna. So let's continue. Let's try to complete this chapter today. 46. We are on verse number 46. There are 50 verses. Let's try to see if we can complete this today. Or we can do it next Monday also. Next Monday probably we'll revise and do it. Okay, let's see how big it is. Taddharmagya mahabagha bhavatveer gauravam kulam vrijinam narhati praptum pujyam vandyam abhikshnashaha. Who's reading? Next, Karpagavali Mataji. Go ahead. Synonyms.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandatnam. Hare Krishna. Synonyms: that therefore, Dharma Jana, one who is aware of the principles of religion, Mahabhaga, the most fortunate, Bhavat Bhihi, by your good self, Bhavat Bhihi, by your good self, Varavam, qualified, Kulam, the family, Vrajina, that which is painful, not, Arhati, does deserve, Praptam, for obtaining, Pujyam, the worshipable, Vandyam, respectable, and Abhikshanasha. So constantly. Translation and purport based Bhakti Vedanta Prabhupada Kije. O most fortunate one who knows the principles of religion, it is not good for you to cause grief to glorious family members who are always respectable and worshipable. Purpose: a slight insult for a respectable family is sufficient to invoke grief. Therefore, a cultured man should always be careful in dealing with worshipable family members. Thank you, Mataji. Dandatna.
So we see in several lectures also, Prabhupada is always talking about respect to parents, respect to elders, respect to guru, right? In this way, Prabhupada is always talking about respect. Why? Because respect is most essential, right? That is why Trinarapi Shunichena Taroriva Sahishnuna Amanena Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari, right? One should think oneself lower than a blade of grass in the street, and one should offer all respects to others without expecting any respect in return. That is the injunction that even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is given, isn't it? So in this way, we see here how it is very important to offer respects, right? So but the respect also should not be like Prabhupada mentions in a lecture. It is good to offer respect, but we should not offer over respect, right? To call the constable an inspector and offer him the respect that is due to an inspector is also foolish. Right? The inspector also will feel angry why this constable is being called the inspector, and the constable himself will feel embarrassed. Oh, why is he calling me? That is why when we say the second offense, right, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Rama to be equal to independent names of Lord Vishnu. When we say Brahma and Shiva are supermost, they are the supreme personality of Godhead, Brahma and Shiva themselves get embarrassed, right? Because they know that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. So to offer respect according to the person's position, right? According to the person's position, that also requires intelligence. So very essential to cultivate wisdom. How do we cultivate wisdom? Is by study of the scriptures. Very, very important. Yeah. So let us all meditate on this point today, right? It's not about studying the scriptures. It's not about memorizing the verses. It is not about reciting the verses. It is not about It is not about exhibiting one's qualification in, in ratta marifying or rotting, or what do you call that, memorizing things, right? But it is about application. It is about understanding the wisdom that is obtained by study of Srila Prabhupada's purport. So in this way, let us meditate on, every action. We can just think or introspect on how I've responded to various situations that occurred in my life yesterday or last 1 week, and we can see where we are getting agitated and where we are transgressing the principles of dharma just because we want something urgently, or something we have, we've so much wanted, and all those things, right? Those are the times that we can introspect, or we can introspect later only, so that we can prevent the recurrence of those kind of things again in the future. So that is how we develop our wisdom, to be able to respond better into situations that cause provocation, into situations that cause anxiety for us, right? Those kind of lessons can be learned, like Radhesham Prabhu was saying in a class, those who sweat while peace bleed less during war, right? So when it is peace time, that time we should study Prabhupada's books, introspect. When am I getting flared up? When am I transgressing the rules of dharma? Right? And that will become a lesson for us. And we cannot directly apply them in the times of war, in times of anxiety, in times of frustration, in times of provocation. But the training ground, if we continuously practice how I should respond to situations based on the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the various pastimes of the Lord, where He is teaching us based on personal example, and the devotees are teaching us by their example, then during times of war, we will not bleed. That means during the actual time of anxiety or frustration, we will know what is the right way to respond. And that is the perfection of human form of life. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. So we are going to discontinue with our memorization of shlokas, because devotees seem a little uninterested, and we've had many instances in the past, and it is a lot of work also, tracking and everything. So we can continue memorizing, but we will not recite it during the class. All right. So let's continue. It's about 5 minutes. Let's do Harinam Sankirtan, and then we'll end our session. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha-shunyavadi Asatya-dishadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Gauranitai Jai Jai Jagannath Jai Baludev Jai Jai Subhadra Jai Jaya Sudarshan Jaya Bala Gopal Jaya Rukmini Vitthal Jai Prahlad Narsingha Jaya Lakshmi Narsingha Jai Guru Ayurappa Jaya Radha Krishna Jai Rukmini Vitthal Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Govinda Radha Gopinatha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Madhava Radha Kunja Bihari Shri Radhe Jaya Sad Goswami Jaya Guru Parampara Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Gurudeva Nittai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai Anandakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So this discontinuation is not in respect for any particular one person or any devotee. Right? We've had multiple instances in the past, and it also requires a lot of tracking. Right? And if you don't do this, we'll have more time to complete Srimad Bhagavatam also. So that's the intention. It's not against any particular devotee. So please, I request devotees do not feel bad. Just that it requires a lot of tracking, and sometimes genuinely devotees not able to join, and it's okay. Right? We don't know the previous week what is our state in the next Monday morning, isn't it? So it's okay, but we will continue to study the Bhagavatam verses. But let's do it at our own pace. We all have the list of shlokas, right, that we have memorized. So we can study that, and we will continue with our study of Srimad Bhagavatam. Thank you so much. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We'll meet tomorrow morning, 4:30 a.m. as we continue with our Shikshashtakam prayers and then chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And we'll meet at 11 o'clock tomorrow. This Wednesday, we'll continue with our study of Ramayana. We are going to end the pastimes of Lord Ram in Panchavati.